Hello everyone and welcome back to another video today for the Metal Gear World Record Recap. It is July 1st today, and that means lots of summertime comes around. Many people are less interested in gaming and more in going outside, and that was why I believe this show today would actually be quite empty. And it kinda is compared to last month, but there's still some new world record updates and I want to tell you all about them. First off, we have an update here for something small, and that is this specific level in Metal Solid 2 VR missions. This is Snake Tuxedo Hold Up 01, and that level has a great history to it. For years, like literally over decades, people had already very high unmatched scores, and only slowly by finding out every small details is it possible that we've seen, oh, there are more and more adjustments that we can do. And now a brand new update has been found out how to move Snake even faster, and that's called the fast startup method. It's actually quite simple to do. All you have to do is to only press the stick for movement when you actually start gaining control of Snake, not to hold the stick in any direction as the level is loading in. And as we know, these frames do mean a lot for VR runners, and as we can see here as an example from Platonic Eye, we have now a brand new update. So let's take a look at the board right now. As seen here, Anonymity Hope was holding the record for quite some time with a 20,908 score 14 years ago, achieved in 2008. What an amazing thing to see. And only then, years later, Jess Ether, 8 years later, was able to match that on PS3. It took quite some time to figure out more ways to scratch out even more, and we've seen here that Platonic Guy and D-Labs and Philosopher managed to beat that score by just 2 points back then in 2021. And now we have a brand new update where people have been checking out, okay, what actually was different here in the 910 versus the 908. And Platonic Eye also had a 910, and they had different forms of time saves, meaning Philosopher got the 910 with a different time save at a different point, where Platonic Eye had a different time save at another point. If you combine these two, and that was the solution to the puzzle, we found out, oh, if you just hit the movement when you start getting control, that is the difference. If you combine everything else together, we got now a brand new score by literally just 2 more points. But it was enough to make a brand new order. Philosopher got dropped down to 4th place, as now 3 people hold the shared world record for this one level. Let's check it out in full. This is the level that we're talking about. It's literally just to go up, hold up a guy, and then be at the end of the level. Go to the goal, and that's it. And this little magic of literally just starting to move as soon as you get control of Snake is the difference that made this world record happen. It was such a small level, incredible, but a lot of work was put into it so we can get this new level of world record. And it just goes to show how insanely talented, of course, all the runners are that do spend that time here in VR2, for example. Also, a quick shout out to War Snakey. I wasn't even sure who that person is, but it shows actually. War Snakey has been a runner for a decade and more. 13 years ago in 2010, he made guides for Metal Solid 3 on how to get the Marco rank on extreme difficulty. So huge respect to him to coming back. He also started having a few other levels being run just 2 years ago. And now for this one new update, he actually got also, as I said, the shared world record. So shout out to you as well. Let's talk to something that's low level, easy, and maybe also even considered free. There's a brand new board on the category extensions for Metal Solid 2 Substance, and that is because I found basically a modification where instead of just having a texture swap of the characters in Metal Solid 2, with an actual character swap mod for Metal Solid 2. As we can see here, this is the mod where we play through the plant chapter, not as Raiden, but actually as Snake. And there are a few quirks with that. It's quite funny to see. You can get the mod here yourself, for example on Game Banana, or of course also Nexus mod. And this mod apparently was originally created by the developers of Red Code Interactive. They were trying to make a Metal Solid mod from the perspective of Snake. Sadly, this project was never completed, but we definitely were able to play through the entirety of Plant Chapter to make a speedrun happen. And I gotta say, it's quite goofy. Some of the highlights, for example, are that we have this moment here where Snake is standing next to Snake, and we can legitimately make the twin Snakes comment about this section. There's also other things, for example, when we go to the area. In this instance, I kind of did a good job here. I got the 5+1 plus the 2 final shots. Feels really good about that. I just turn around, hit another +1. But more important is actually how do we do the rolls over these gaps of the bridges? Well, let me show you. Because the animations for Snake are quite different, you do not have the cart where you do have a roll forward, and Snake's roll forward is actually slower than Raiden's cartwheel compared to just regular walking. We do not do many of these cartwheels at all, and not even the rolls, but for this instance we gotta do it. As you just seen it, yes, Snake's roll work in the way that he gets just on an even plane, and after the roll animation is done, he drops down. It looks so weird, so wrong, but it definitely works. In the instance here of this bridge, I mean, just look at it. Isn't it amazing to watch? That and a few more quirks are in this run. I can definitely recommend giving it a try if you have access to the PC version, of course. It's a lot of fun for me, especially who's been running the plant for ages now as Raiden, and now being able to play as Snake legitimately is quite fun, especially because we have a new board now where we can have it. And just to quickly show you where it is, this is not part of the full game boards because we only do the plant chapters. You have to go to leaderboards and then the levels, and then at the plant section, there we go, plant MGS1 Snake mod. That's where you can find where you can submit to this board. So I'm the only runner right now. I'm sure DLM13 will do it very soon as well. So if you want to quickly grab that world record, do it quickly. Because I think it's fair to do this quite soon. I only did it on normal difficulty as well. On very easy, you could save plenty more time, of course, too. And just shout outs to his genuine fun mod. I definitely had a lot of fun, and I hope if you give it a try, we'll also have a lot of fun for that. Let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about Metal Gear Solid 1, and I wanted to give a quick shout out to Repeats. He has been doing a lot in the past 2 months, basically, working on Metal Gear Solid 1, and what he did is basically gotten all the IL world records for Metal Gear Solid 1 on Emulator, which is fair. You do this individually for the boss fights in certain sections, and as you can see, it's like all golds right now. Oh my god. It's so much work to do this, and just generally great stuff to see here, giving DLM13 some more work to do for sure. And one of the greater achievements is actually an escape sequence, as you can see here, a 157.770. That's definitely great, because if you remember, the escape sequence has to be played with 2 controllers on Emulator/console, where you can then control the guards at a second checkpoint. I'm going to quickly fast forward a little bit to the segment in question, which is here. As soon as we get to the second checkpoint, we'll see something quirky happening. There we go. The guards will literally just run into the line of fire from Snake, because we have a second controller where we use the stick on the second controller to manipulate the guards. It's unknown why this works, but it definitely works on all the console versions that we have. And maybe soon with the Master Collection will also work then on the PC version. But Repeats wasn't only done doing ILs this month, he also did full game runs. For example, the original Japanese version of Metal Gear Solid 1, he got the new world record in the Any % category of 5701. That beat DLM's record from a few months ago by over 30 seconds. Congratulations for that. Then we also have a few alternate round shenanigans that he just did this week. For example, on Emulator Easy Difficulty, all bosses, he did the alternate round 1 hour 20 minutes and 16 seconds. And also on normal difficulty, he did 1 hour 22 minutes and 42 seconds. On the regular round side, we also have a few people coming back actually, because we have Inetti making his comeback here, and he got the world record for the regular all bosses normal difficulty on Emulator. And sadly, as we can see, there's a second place because he also got beaten just a few days later. So this run was done on June 24th, and we have the runner Green Funk here, who came in just 2 days later on June 26th to take this record back. Time difference is over 2 minutes, which is definitely not to scoff at, and Green Funk for sure will hopefully also go on and do wall runs in other categories as well. But Inetti was of course not discouraged. He accepts his fate with this category, but he definitely moved on and did another world record run, which was here for Almost as Emulator Very Easy, which has beaten the previous record by DLM13 for over 2 minutes. Now that was done of course because thanks to the Boba skit that we found in August 2021, which saves us almost 2.5 minutes, and that is of course the boost that you need for these categories. There's plenty of these still on the board which have not been beaten yet with the use of Boba skip, so we're hoping that more people pick up the game of course and finally break out these old records and update them with new strategies of course. But for now, Inetti holds at least this world record as of the time being, and so congratulations to him, and of course Green Funk as well, and Repeats for pushing Metal Gear Solid 1 further. One final shout out also to our Speedy. He did a little category extension for Metal Gear Solid 3, also a brand new world record in the trial version of Metal Gear Solid 3. Now this is split between hardware and emulation, and this one specifically was done here on Emulator, getting a time of 4 minutes and 9 seconds, beating Merch Guy Merch's previous time at around 24 seconds. quite admirable, and GG. Speaking of pushing, we have an update about Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, the second game in the series. There's no other game in between, trust me, I knew about that. And that is, well, Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. And we have here a brand new runner called DARPMOSH, who played on the original MSX2 computer. Well, he used an emulator for that, but it needs to be said. You can see on the boards here for Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake that the categories are basically split in any percent, with the PAL PS2 version, the PS2 NTSC and the HD Collection version, the MSX2 computer version, and of course the Wii version. MSX2 and Wii are currently empty. Nobody has done a run and submitted it to the boards. There are certainly people that have done runs on this that they have, for example, uploaded just to YouTube for fun. But at least when it comes to competition in this game here, more people are definitely running on the PS2/HTC version here because it's more accessible and also way faster, because as we can see here, I currently hold the world record of 53 minutes here for the PS2 NTSC version and the world record of 48 minutes for the PS2 PAL version. Now, DARPMOSH went in and did his run, put it up on Twitch, streamed it live, and he did his run in 4 hours, 42 minutes and 6 seconds. Well, that's the length of his VOD. Timing is a little bit shorter, of course, because we don't start right away with the run, and there's also some time before we actually stop the run. But 4 hours, definitely not bad, because I can confirm this game version is tough as nails. Running Metal Gear 2 on the MSX computer comes with so many downsides compared to the PS2 version. It runs slower, other guards are faster than you, so the guard cycles change. And as somebody who's done a lot of work pushing the time down on any percent PS2, I can definitely see that this is quite a challenge. And so, motivated by this submission, which is yet to be verified, I went in and also did my own run. So when I was running the game on Monday, I was doing it basically without my shelf. I just tried around a little bit and used my knowledge that I gained from the PS2 version to run this MSX2 version. And at the end, we see here, I basically killed Big Boss at the end. That's what you need to do. You need to make your own flamethrower and then you shoot Big Boss a couple of times. But in this game version, there's a very critical glitch that softlocks the game and lets you not continue. On the PS2 version and HTC version, you can even kill Big Boss off screen and he continues his animation. But as we see here, close to the screen border, the game just softlocks and doesn't let you continue. So this run on Monday, after almost 2 hours, sadly just failed to continue. It was so devastating. Luckily though, as you can see here, a day later, I did a run that didn't softlock. And I also learned a lot about a so-called safe loading glitch, which allows us to keep our inventory, but resets us back to an earlier checkpoint in the game. That and many more places in this run save a lot of time. But as we can see here, the time is still 1 hour, 53 minutes and 9 seconds. Because this game just runs really slow compared to PS2 and HTC, so while this is a very cool trick, it sadly does not make the run faster than the PS2 versions. It still takes like around 2 hours. But yeah, that's a little anecdote about Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. Once these runs will be verified in the next coming weeks, of course they will be on the world record board, but because they have been done already this week, I just wanted to feature them already in this show. Oh yeah, and side note, I also went in and played some Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake 100%. 100% is basically also another one of those dead categories. Like, I do not obviously, I mean, 100% has only one run in here by Matt Runner from 4 years ago soon. Like 3 years and 11 months ago. Matt Runner did this on the PAL Xbox 360 and he got a time of 1 hour, 8 minutes and 35 seconds. That is the only submission for 100%, and I was thinking, man, I always wanted to tackle 100%, let alone to just get a free world record, you know, because NTSC is empty. I can be the first person to submit. So as we can see here, the real time was 1 hour, 5 minutes and 52 seconds, but the IGT was actually only 59 minutes and 26 seconds. So compared to the 48:53, it's almost 11 minutes slower compared to any percent if you run 100%, which isn't that bad, I have to say, because in comparison, percentage-wise, Metal Gear 1 any percent on PS2 PAL and Metal Gear 1 100% on PS2 PAL have a difference also of 10 minutes, but that run is 20 minutes versus 30 minutes, so at least here with Metal Gear 2, doing 100% is not even that much slower in percentage. It adds 10 minutes, sure, but would be worse. And something that definitely takes longer is Metal Gear Solid 4. I just ran it myself this week for the first time, had 2.5 hours of a time, which is not that good. And so I'm happy to finally announce a brand new Metal Gear Solid 4 world record here on the leaderboards, done by Sir Schnuckle. He did the Liquid Easy, which is also very easy for this game, difficulty on new game in one setting, single segment. And he did this in 2 hours, 1 minute and 16 seconds. That time is not to scoff at. Getting here sub-hour is super difficult, especially on new game without any of the New Game Plus items. And so you get my huge respect for beating Metal Gear Solid 4 as a brand new world record in a long time, actually. The older record has been there for quite some time. And yeah, kudos to you. Last but not least, also shoutouts to the multiple Metal Gear games categories where we run through multiple Metal Gear games back to back. A brand new category has been established as suggested by Valeria-chan, and she did a Metal Gear Rising and Metal Gear Solid 2 back to back category. Well, actually it's the other way around. It's Metal Gear Solid 2 Plant and Metal Gear Rising, because this is the Raiden Duology, where you play both games where you play as Raiden. So, only the Plant chapter of Metal Gear Solid 2 and of course Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Decent time put on the boards here, congratulations. Who knows who can even beat this, because most Rising runners have no interest in running 2 and most 2 runners don't really run Rising. So this is a special case, but if you think you can beat it out there, put up some competition for her. I'm sure she will appreciate it. And congratulations to this new world record. And that's been it for the Metal Gear World Record recap. I hope you liked it for this month. It was a little bit shorter. I had a little bit more time to go into the details. Hope I didn't bore you all, but yeah, it's the summertime. Who knows what will happen in the next few weeks? The Master Collection is coming, October 24th, remember? And I'm pretty sure once that comes out, we also hopefully see a spike in new people coming back to speedrun or even starting to speedrun brand new. I'll try my best to update new tutorials, so all of these games that at least I run quite frequently have up-to-date tutorials and people who can quickly pick them up to learn. But if you want to see any specific things and tutorials on this channel or seen by other runners, I can at least talk to them. Let me know, of course, and I'll try my best to make them happen. Have a nice weekend, everyone. And of course, I'll see you in the next episode of the Metal Gear World Record Recap. Thanks for watching.